We're live.
Yes. Welcome in. It's the Tim McKernan Show podcast. It's questions from the audience. Jackson, full transparency. You fucked us today.
Big time. This one's on me. That might be the title of the podcast.
Good for you. This one's on me.
This one's on me.
Did I just go into... Because I see Jake Reynolds is saying, good morning, boys. I went to the YouTube page, talk it over with people, and I must have clicked on this morning. There it is. So I told people we would start at 11:30 Central, and instead we're starting at 11:39 Mountain. And I had a call at 11 o'clock Central, and it did start till 11:15, and then I literally got off the phone maybe 2 minutes ago. I apologize. That's on me. I never would have said, hey, let's do QFTA. And then on top of it, I got a doctor's appointment at 1 o'clock. So this is going to be the quickest QFTA. I don't even have time to tweet out a cute boy gif, and that is my favorite part of every week.
Yeah, it does feel like you're being robbed of
Everyone's
love.
being robbed.
Yes,
This is on you, so I appreciate you acknowledging it. Questions from the audience, the Tim McKernan Show podcast, brought to you by James Carlton, carltoninsurance.net, Seth Goldcamp, Design Air Heating and Cooling, designairservice.com, Mark Hanna, Evergreen Wealth Strategies, evergreenstl.com, and Munganess, St. Louis Acura, Munganess, Burkhardt, Alton Toyota, online at stlouisacura.com. Jackson, QFTA, you got to be excited because there's a cap on it because you're moving.
Yeah. Yep. Finishing up. Almost there. I've spent the last 2 nights in my new place, but I still got to get a couple of things out of my old place.
Christen that thing in.
With like a piss?
Some kind of...
Oh, release.
Sweet release.
Yeah.
How sweet, fresh meat. Freddy Krueger,
yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street. Part 3, I think. Dream Warriors. That was with Dokken. Somebody will check on that.
Who was docking?
Flip that off.
Robert Englund? That's the guy who played.
That's correct. No, the band was Dokken, not docking. Dokken.
What do you think? Do you think that ushered in the age of docking? I don't know. So many people are cut, so docking seems like it's probably falling.
Oh, you got to be
out of
uncut
style.
to dock?
I think one of the parties has to be.
Oh, is that
uncut.
right? Oh, yeah, to allow their...
Right.
That's so great to think about. Puts me in a good spot. Manchild79's in the chat, and he enjoyed Dokken. Yeah, Dokken. I think his name's like Don Dokken. He was the lead singer of Dokken, Donnie Dokken.
And his
Donnie
song,
Dokken.
And his song was Oh God.
Did you find him? See? I ain't fucking around. We don't fuck around. It's a bet. Lay it down. There he is. And his name is Don Dokken. Oh, wow.
Don
Kind of
Dokken.
Surprised by this.
Don Dokken. Sorry, Ozzy.
Yep.
Knocked over your beverage. He kind of looks like Meatloaf a little.
A little bit. All right, Jackson. We did get emails here from today because I said we're going to do QFT at 11:30. Then I just fucked everybody over. Hey, Tim, I know you and Jackson joke about the text line for Balloon Party being straight out of the 1980s with what I assume are comments about sexuality, other long retired words we all work so hard to eliminate from daily conversation. Well, I don't want you to apply first person, plural. Although beyond the BP, have you or Jackson noticed an increase in this kind of language, either in social situations or on social media? I've seen quote-unquote gay and quote-unquote retard resurface all over the place like it's normal again, coming from places I wouldn't have imagined. Has my algorithm been corrupted, or has the pervasive use of language been noted by others? Thanks. That's from Iggy's Special Projects. I'll speak first. I haven't noticed it. Now, with that said, I don't think anyway, on social media as much as you are, and I gather that's where Iggy Special Projects is seeing it. We do see it in the Balloon Party text inbox. I guess the best way to try to describe the difference between the TMA text inbox and the Balloon Party text inbox is the Balloon Party text inbox kind of reads like a comment section. Mm-hmm. The TMA one, I mean, some are, angry and or not funny or, sad, whatever, which therefore they have in common with some of the Balloon Party ones. But some of the people who text into TMA are cutting, and it's from my standpoint, subjective, quality material. And I don't know if I've ever seen, I guess I've had to have, but like somebody say, that's gay. Like if anything, it's just like guys busting balls, but not like anybody like, yeah, I don't like homosexuals, and therefore I shall call Jackson or Tim a homosexual, you know?
Right. Yeah, I remember.
Do you see it? Do you see an increase in this?
I remember in terms of like the R word there, I remember when Shane Gillis was on SNL.
Just got brought up in the YouTube chat by MD2020.
I remember there was a real groundswell of people like, oh, I'm so glad this word, like, I'm so glad people are using this and we're stop being woke and soft, which is just, if you use the word woke unironically, I don't think we can have a real conversation.
There's a lot on that, and I'm trying to workshop it.
But like, if you go back to some of those, like The Hangover or some like the early aughts comedy, you'll find that like.
But that wasn't early. It was 2009.
That was 2009, but like 4-Year-Old Virgin, which I think was 2004 or 2003.
Okay. What about The Office, which I've been rewatching?
Yeah, a lot of that. Like a lot of it is like burn because you're gay. Like that's like it's here's the joke, and it's just essentially like you're gay. I mean, there's even a scene in 4-Year-Old Virgin where Seth Rogen and someone else just go back and forth telling each other how gay they are. And so like obviously that's a pretty recent in relative timeline, but it's just kind of just like I think we can do better, like you just mentioned with the TMA text line. Like I just think there's always like funnier stuff.
So one thing that I like to go to, because it isn't one that you get necessarily fired for, but oftentimes I will point out when Bill Maher would shit on Chris Christie for being fat, I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to go tweet at him and hope he gets fired or something like that. I'd just be like,
Right.
I mean, I know you're so much more capable of something, like you're just, not that you're quote unquote better than that, like that's immoral, just like, I mean, it's just like a 2-foot putt.
Fruit.
Yeah, it's just like, so when I see it, when it's directed at us, I'm not like, hold on a second.
Right.
Are they on to me?
Yeah.
I'm more like,
I'm not looking at
I'm like it's like a time warp in the 1980s.
Right. That's my consensus on that.
But I'd love to know like the psychology of why that gets a portion of the population as worked up as it does. I don't really care. That's my honest feeling. I think. I'm offering a thesis, and this is nothing more than that people feel like they're quality people and that they don't really have anything to be ashamed of. And now, retroactively, they're being told that some of the things that they did that no one had told them were immoral now make them immoral people. And that irritates them. That's what I think it's about. That's what I think it's about.
Yeah.
I could be off the mark on it. And to try to simplify it, because it's something that is played on to rile people up, and I don't really know what the why it works. I guess I'd be curious, and I'm not interested to litigate woke and not. I'm just candidly it's boring, but the psychology of why it gets people so worked up interests me.
Yeah,
What was I? Oh, we're watching I told you about this the Vince McMahon thing.
Yeah.
And they're showing, Triple H and Shawn Michaels, some of the stuff that they were doing during the Attitude Era of WWE. And you see it now, and even though it was only 20, 25 years ago, you're going, God.
That would not fly.
But then they go, but why? And then it's like, Doug sometimes jokingly says, God, Girl Next Door parties, where to bring those back. And I'd be like, yeah, I wouldn't do it. Not because I'm like, oh, I'm ashamed. I'm not in the slightest at all.
Yeah.
I just don't. I didn't want to do it when I was like without children and in my early 30s, much less being in my late 40s with 2 young children. That's my reason for it. So I don't know like how all of a sudden it would become immoral, but I guess the stuff doesn't go on like it used to. I'm not really locked into it. I don't say I guess. I'm pretty confident it doesn't go on. But yeah, you look at the WWE as a glaring example of 20, 25 years ago. But I don't think necessarily as a society, as a culture, we've evolved. If anything, I actually think we've regressed in the last 25 years. But yet there's been a lot of policing, oftentimes from anonymous people on social media, try to get people who are in the spotlight taken out. And it's not necessarily about improving society so much as collecting a scalp.
Right.
And I got no love for that. At the same time, I'm not really interested in being mean to people who aren't like involved in the reindeer games, and even then, it's more ball busting, or clit busting. Is that what you say?
I would say we should make that the title, but I don't know if that would even get through our podcast platform. They might not even shut that down.
whatever it is, just like you're fucking around with people who you have a good relationship with.
Right.
But I'm not gonna like go out of my way to somebody I know or don't know and just like shit on them via like a tweet or something like that. Even though that's part of our existence, it's whatever. It's the job and whatever. It's fine.
Right.
I'll take the good parts of the job. The bad parts come with it.
Like, I have no interest in ever like litigating what's right or wrong from 20 years ago and saying like, oh, that's not how we do things now. So you need to like, I'm not into doing that. But I'm also not like screaming from the mountaintop saying comedy is back because Shane Gillis said retard. Like, I just don't think that like.
I thought I saw that on your timeline.
I just think we can do better. And I like some of Shane Gillis' stuff, by the way.
Wilson Welch, who I think might be Little Beer Cat, says TMA text line is truly one of a kind. I've never heard any podcast that is anything like it. I could not agree more, although I'm not necessarily reading a bunch of other text inboxes or listening to a bunch of podcasts that cite text inboxes, but it is truly, and then like some of the emails, it's so good. I think if anything, it kind of spoils us for the balloon party one or the 101 one because we know like how good it can be.
Right.
And then unlike TMA, where, I don't know, 80% of the people who text in, their names are saved.
Yeah.
So you kind of know which ones are good and then you know which ones are probably
Absolutely.
like not only not funny, but like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't know, dangerous isn't the right word, but you're just like, oh, there's a situation there.
Yeah.
With 101, it's just, they're just not saved, so they're just a bunch of numbers. So I'm sure there are plenty of TMA texters in there.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
Let's see. Nothing makes me want to leave a conversation more than when someone brings up extremely polarizing political takes. That's from MD 2020. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't think that's a reference to what we're talking about right now. But, I like the emails. Good email from Iggy's Special Projects is the username. I don't know. I don't see it, but then again, I'm not somebody who would be looking for it because I've kind of gotten away from paying attention to it. And if I do see it, I'm just like, oh,
Right.
It's not. It's like, oh, you're angry, and what truly comes to mind when I see that kind of stuff, even if it's directed at me, is like, oh, it doesn't matter, and God, I wonder what happened to get the person to this point.
Right.
Because really, most of the time they're older. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah, like 50
and it's like,
or older.
Yeah, and not across the board. I mean. And I'm just like, God, I wonder what happened to get you where you have so little self-awareness that you're communicating with a stranger like this, and like what went wrong to get you to this point. And so it's not like, fuck you, let me right back. It's just like, man, I wonder what's going on there, know?
And like, to me, it always begs the question of like, was that element of that person's life in them this whole time, and social media like awakens that, or does social media like rile up the dog within you and make like, it's kind of like a chicken or egg kind of thing?
I got a final thought because I got this doctor's appointment at 1 o'clock and it's 12:52.
Gotcha.
I'm going to take you back to the Sigma Chi house.
Zai chapter.
Thank you. May it rest in peace. Although I hear it's coming back.
Yeah.
It does. It's like the locust. It just keeps popping up. And I remember getting there, and this was the mid-1990s. We're 8 years removed from the days of Brad Pitt, and that's what I'm there to do, replace him.
That's right.
And I would be in awe of people would just leave spit cups for their chaw or flick cigarettes, because that's the time.
Sure.
Just in the place where we live.
Yeah.
Now, why do I bring that up? When we entered there as freshmen, we didn't walk in and flick cigarettes or leave chaw spittoons all over the place.
You don't think that would played well?
It was a learned behavior because you saw the people around you doing it, and then you're like, oh, I guess I can do it too. We'll all be a bunch of dumb shit hillbillies. That is Twitter. That is the conclusion today of questions from the audience. We thank you to Iggy's Special Projects for the email. For Jackson Bennett Burkett, I'm Tim McKernan. This has been the Tim McKernan Show podcast.